In this section, we're going to go over the MicroStation OpenRoads Designer window layout. So first, up at the top, this first set of tools is called the Quick Access Toolbar. It contains options to select the workflow and other frequently used commands. So this first pull down has the workflows in it. The two workflows we'll be talking about in the MicroStation Fundamentals class is the drawing workflow and the MO.CAD detailing standards workflow. Depending on which workflow you choose, you'll get a different set of tabs for your ribbons. I'm going to select the drawing workflow. You'll notice I have a set of tabs that deal with drawing tools in OpenRoads Designer. I'm going to go to the Home tab. And each tab will have a group or set of groups. And each group will have a set of tools that are closely related with that group. So if I wanted to draw a line, I would go to the placement group and select that place line tool. If I needed to attach maybe a reference file or a raster image, I could go to this attach tab at the top, and then I could select what I need to attach, whether it be a reference, a raster, or maybe a point cloud. If I switch my workflow from drawing back to MO.CAD standards, once I select it, you'll notice I have three different tabs. I have Bridge, Design, and Survey. Each of these tabs will have a set of tasks under it based on what you're wanting to do, whether you want to place some annotation out there, maybe some pavement markings, but we'll have a whole section later on going over the MO.CAD detailing standards. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my drawing workflow, and I'll make sure I have my Home tab selected. So that's how the workflow tabs and ribbons work. Each workflow will have a set of tabs, and each tab will have a set of groups that will have a set of tools in each group. The next few tools deal with creating new files and saving files. The first tool is if you want to create a new file. Then you have the Open an Existing File tool. You have your Save tool. You also have your Save Settings. So if you want to save your settings in the active design file, you could use that tool. And then you have your Compress options. If you want to compress the design file, you have a few options under here you can select. After those tools, you have the Undo and the Redo tools. The next one is the Set Mark tool. And what that tool does is if you set a mark, you can do an undo back to that mark. After the Set Mark tool, you have your Print options. And then after that, you have this Miscellaneous pull down. And this is just a quick way to get to some of your basic drawing tools. So if I was in my MO.CAD standards workflow, but I wanted to go out and place a line, I could just go down to the linear elements and select place line, and I'd be able to place a line. So it's just another way to get some of your drawing tools within OpenRoads Designer. After the Miscellaneous pull down, you have this next little customized quick access toolbar pull down, which allows you to enable or disable some of the quick access toolbar items. And then down here at the bottom, there are a few options where you can customize the quick access toolbar. You can show the toolbar below the ribbon, or you can actually minimize the ribbon if you want to. Next, you have your banner. This is just showing you where your file is located. Gives you the file name, whether it's a 2D or a 3D drawing, and then what version you are running. After the banner, you have your sign-in glyph, which just tells you that you're a connected user. After the sign-in glyph, you have your minimize, you have your restore down or restore up, and then you have your close. If we move down under the ribbon, basically you have your view window, with some of your view tools. We have a section coming up covering all these view tools, so we won't go over them. But basically, if you want to zoom in or out on your drawing, or you need to pan around, these tools would do that for you. Of course, if you need to minimize or maximize your view or close your view, you have those options over here on the right hand side. Over here on the left hand side, you may have some tabs open. If you don't, we have a whole section going over these tabs on how to open them, close them, and pin them out to your screen. And then down here at the bottom, we have some tools to go over. This first toolbar down here on the bottom is the Manage View Groups toolbar. We have a whole section on views. We won't really talk about this one a whole lot. If you wanted to manage your view groups, you have a button to do that. To quickly turn on and off views, you have views 1 through 8. You can turn on and off through here. So if I wanted to turn off view 1, I would just deselect it. It would turn it off. If I want to turn it back on, I'll check it on. If I wanted to open up another view, I could do that. I'm going to go ahead and turn that one off. After your Manage View Groups toolbar, you should have your Civil Accudraw toolbar. My Civil Accudraw is checked on right now. You can toggle it on and off. And then you have all your Civil Accudraw tools. We'll be going over these a little bit later in another section as well. And then after your Civil Accudraw toolbar, you have your AccuSnap toolbar. You can toggle it on or off here. And then you have all your different snap modes listed after that. And we have a whole section on the AccuSnap toolbar a little bit later on. And the last thing we're going to talk about is the status bar. It's down here at the bottom. It's the bottom bar down here. We'll go over each of these. The first one down here is the selected tool prompt. So if I was to go up and place a line, it's going to prompt me how to create that line if I don't know how. So it wants me to identify the start of a line. So that would just simply be a left click out on the screen. It wants me to identify the end of the line, so I could left click again. If I'm finished, I could just right click to reset my tool. So that's all the select tool prompt does. It shows the name of the selected tool and usually a prompt for the next step in the normal procedure for using it. After the selected tool prompt, you have your message center, which is this area through here. If I left click on it, it's going to pop up the message center. It will mainly contain a running log of system messages and any further description about the message if applicable. I'm going to go ahead and close the message center. After the message center, you have your snap mode. It shows the type of snap selected. When you left click on the snap mode, it'll bring up your snaps. So if you wanted to, you could actually change your snapping here. After the snap mode, you have your active locks. If you left click on the locks, it'll open up your locks. Of course, the ones highlighted blue are turned on. The ones that are not highlighted are turned off. We're not going to go over each of these, but if you wanted to look some of these up, you could. Next is your selection set. I don't have any items selected right now, but if I did, it would show how many items I had selected here. If you left click in this area, it will pop up a few options where you can select an element. You can select all, you can select none, or you can select by attributes. So if I go ahead and select all, it's going to select everything in my drawing, and it's going to tell me how many items I have selected. I'm going to go ahead and left click on it again and pick select none to clear that out, and then we'll move on to the next one. So the next one on the status bar is the running coordinates. So if I just go out to my screen and move my cursor around, you can see the coordinates will change wherever I drag my cursor. That's just the coordinate it is at. If I left click in that area, there are some other options. Right now it's set to position. I could also change that to delta, view delta, distance, ACS position, or ACS delta. I'm just going to leave it set to position for now and move on to the next one. The next one just lets you know if the file has been modified or not. You really won't see much here unless you go out and draw something. We have autosave turned on by default in our preferences, so if I go out and place a line real quick, you may see it change. So it changed to the little diskette because it automatically saved the file. I'm going to go ahead and do an undo, and of course it saved it again to let me know that it saved that undo. This next icon is the active work set icon. It just indicates whether the active work set is associated to a project-wise project. So if I hover over it, it'll let me know what work set I'm in.
And this last icon on the status bar is just letting us know whether we have a geographic coordinate system defined on our drawing or not. I do not in this drawing, so it's showing a red X. If I would have a geographic coordinate system applied, there would be a green check mark there instead of the red X. So that's all this tool is letting you know, is whether you have a geographic coordinate system applied to your DGN or not.
There's one more thing. If you right click over any of these on the status bar, it will give you a list of the items in the status bar. You can turn these on and off if you want to. I'm just going to leave mine set the way they are right now. There is one more thing I forgot to mention up here at the top. You have this search ribbon. So if you wanted to search for a tool, you could use this search ribbon to search for it. So if I didn't know where my place line tool was, I could just type place line in here. It'll give me some options. I can go ahead and hover over that place line, and it will show me all the locations where I can find that place line tool. That's basically the overview of the MicroStation window and where some of the tools are located at. Most of what we showed you we'll be going over in more detail in some of the other videos we have coming up.